Long ago, in a quiet village nestled among rolling hills, lived a kind-hearted old man who bore a peculiar affliction, a swollen wen the size of a tennis ball protruding from his right cheek. This unsightly lump was a source of great distress and embarrassment, consuming the old man's every waking thought. For years, he had sought remedy after remedy, consulting every healer and medicine man he could find, ingesting strange potions, and applying countless salves. Yet, the wen only grew more monstrous, until it nearly consumed his entire face. Despair settled in as he resigned himself to a life forever marred by this grotesque growth. One crisp autumn afternoon, with the kitchen firewood depleted, the old man took up his axe and ventured into the nearby woods to gather more. The day was clear and invigorating, and he relished the fresh mountain air. As he chopped wood and piled it high, time slipped by unnoticed. When the sky began to dim, he turned his attention homeward, his load of firewood in tow. As he descended the mountain pass, dark clouds swiftly gathered, and a torrential rain began to pelt down. The old man sought shelter, but found none, save for a large hollow in the trunk of a nearby tree. Crawling into this natural refuge, he hoped the rain would soon subside. To his dismay, the storm intensified, and a fierce thunderstorm unleashed its fury. The sky roared and crackled with lightning so vivid it seemed to set the heavens ablaze. The old man, trembling with fear, huddled deeper into the hollow trunk, praying for the storm's end. Hours passed before the tempest waned, and the sky cleared to reveal a tranquil sunset bathing the landscape in golden hues. Relieved, the old man prepared to emerge from his makeshift shelter when he heard the sound of approaching footsteps. To his astonishment, he saw not friendly faces, but a horde of demons drawing near. Some were enormous, others had disproportionately large eyes or comically elongated noses. Many boasted gaping mouths that stretched from ear to ear, and all sported menacing horns. Hidden behind the tree, the old man's heart raced. He dared not move, but in his curiosity, he watched as the demons began to revel in a wild, otherworldly party. Music filled the air, accompanied by the clinking of cups and raucous laughter. The demon chief, a towering figure with a grand presence, leaned against the very tree in which the old men hid. Around him, the demons danced, drank, and feasted with wild abandon. Amused by the bizarre spectacle, the old man watched with increasing fascination. The demon's antics were unlike anything he had ever seen. His laughter echoed softly, though he remained concealed. Unable to resist the lure of the celebration, he stepped out from his hiding place, his curiosity getting the better of him. The demon chief, holding a large cup of sake, glanced up with a bored expression. "This dance is rather monotonous. Is there no one among you who can perform a more engaging dance?" The old man, who had been a passionate dancer in his youth, saw an opportunity. Despite his apprehension, his love for dance urged him to showcase his skills. With a deep breath, he stepped forward and began to dance. His movements were graceful and expert, a stark contrast to the clumsy efforts of the demons. The demons' surprise turned to admiration as they watched the old man's performance. The demon chief, astounded by the old man's skill, declared, "Remarkable. I have never witnessed such a talented dancer." As the dance concluded, the chief offered the old man a large wine cup. "Thank you for your delightful performance. Please, join us in celebrating." Humbled by the unexpected hospitality, the old man accepted the cup, expressing his gratitude. "I am honored by your kindness. I feared my dance might disrupt your festivities." No, the demon chief reassured him. "Your dance has brought us great joy. Come and dance for us whenever you can." As the celebration wound down, the demon chief turned to the old man and asked, "Will you come back again tomorrow?" "Certainly, I will," the old man replied with enthusiasm. "Then you must leave us a pledge of your promise," the demon insisted. "Whatever you wish," the old man said, eager to comply. The demon chief pondered, glancing around at his attendants. One of them, a thin demon with a wrinkled face, spoke up from behind the chief. "The pledge should be something of great importance to the old man. I see that he bears a wen on his right cheek, which mortals often regard as a sign of fortune. If the chief were to take this wen, the old man would surely return tomorrow, if only to retrieve it. "Clever suggestion," said the demon chief, nodding approvingly. He extended a hairy, claw-like hand toward the old man's swollen cheek. With an almost delicate touch, he plucked the wen off as effortlessly as picking a ripe fruit from a tree. To the old man's astonishment, the wen came away smoothly, leaving his cheek perfectly clear. In an instant, the entire demon party vanished into thin air, leaving him alone in the quiet dusk. Confused and bewildered, the old man remained in the hollow tree for a while, trying to grasp the enormity of what had just occurred. When he finally touched his face and realized the wen was truly gone, his heart leaped with joy. His right cheek was as smooth as the day he was born. The sun had set, and a young crescent moon now hung in the sky like a silver pendant. Realizing how late it was, the old man hurried home, patting his smooth cheek repeatedly as if to reassure himself of his newfound fortune. So ecstatic was he that he danced and skipped all the way back to his village. His wife, anxiously awaiting his return, was overjoyed to see him, and immediately noticed the absence of the grotesque lump. The old man recounted his remarkable adventure, and his wife, who had long lamented the unsightly wen, was as thrilled as he was. She celebrated the return of her husband's handsome face with tears of happiness. News of the old man's miraculous transformation spread quickly, reaching the ears of a bitter and envious neighbor. The sour old man, who had long been plagued by a wen on his left cheek, was deeply envious of his neighbor's good fortune. Determined to rid himself of his own affliction, he inquired eagerly about the details of the miraculous event. The good old man, feeling generous, described the entire episode, including the location of the hollow tree and the timing of the demon's arrival. The very next afternoon, the envious old man set out, following the directions precisely. He found the hollow tree and concealed himself inside, waiting impatiently for twilight. As dusk fell, the familiar band of demons arrived, their revelry as lively as the previous night. When the chief noticed the old man's absence, he remarked, "It is time for the old man to come, as he promised. Why hasn't he arrived?" The envious old man, overhearing the remark, leapt from his hiding place and bowed low before the demons. "I have been waiting for you to call," he said eagerly. "Ah, you are the old man from yesterday," said the demon chief with a sly grin. "Welcome. Please, show us your dance." The envious old man, who had no knowledge of proper dance techniques, clumsily began to move. His attempt at dancing was a chaotic mix of awkward hops, flailing arms, and uncoordinated foot stomps. The demons exchanged disapproving glances and whispered among themselves, "This dance is dreadful compared to yesterday's performance." The chief, clearly displeased, addressed the old man. "Your performance today is unsatisfactory. We have no desire to see any more of your dancing. We will return the pledge you left with us. Leave at once." With that, the demon chief produced the wen he had removed from the previous old man. He tossed it back at the envious old man's cheek. The wen adhered to his face with a strange finality, as though it had always belonged there. Despite his desperate attempts to remove it, the wen remained firmly in place. The old man stood there in disbelief, his face now bearing the same hideous lump on his right cheek that he had hoped to remove. His joy had turned to despair as he found himself in an even worse predicament than before. With both cheeks now adorned with grotesque lumps, his face resembled a gourd more than ever. Defeated and disheartened, he trudged back home, a pitiful figure of his former self. The moral of the story is, envy and greed can lead to one's downfall. The envious old man, driven by jealousy and the desire to possess what he did not have, ended up in a worse predicament than before. His attempt to gain the same benefit as his neighbor without understanding or respecting the nature of the opportunity resulted in an even greater misfortune. This tale reminds us that coveting what others have without appreciating our own circumstances can lead to greater troubles and losses.